Hello YouTube, Message and Bother here with another video. It's been a while since I posted a video, but I was very busy with the latest games and real life stuff. What I want to discuss is a video that I had taken down out of fear that YouTube censorship might come after my channel, so I gotta be very careful, but I still want to discuss important topics that, in my opinion, it needs to be talked about and shared across the internet because I feel like me personally, I'm not alone with subjects that's very controversial, but at the same time, I want to share my wisdom. I want to share my experience, what I've been through, and hopefully, you guys, the viewers, make better decisions than I did. This is why throughout my YouTube channel, I encourage everyone to think for themselves, but don't be retarded. I'm sorry if that sounds mean, but I'm just trying to say is don't do dumb decision that you're gonna regret later in your life. Don't make other people miserable just because you're miserable. When you make other people miserable, it's kind of like a telltale sign that aside from something's wrong with you, there's also some sadness and misery in you. And me personally, I've seen that firsthand, and I'll definitely talked about it in another video for another time, but I've seen that before and it's outright scary. So much so that I try my best to not be miserable because that thing traumatized me. But that's a story for another time. So, in this video, the subject is particularly the picture that I'm showing here. If you guys remember a while back, I did talk about women being delusional about their beauty. And the reason why I taken out that video is because at the very end of the video, I showed two clips where it was essentially violence against women, but those clips, in my opinion, they were kind of essential of what I'm talking about in the subject because right now we're living in the internet age where we could see thousands among thousands of articles, and without a doubt, we're living in an age where we get to see unfiltered in social media, in our cell phones, in the palm of our hands. We get to see unfiltered reality checks of women being very delusional with their beauty, and it's very sad to see this. Very sad. Women think that beauty itself is gonna save them, but in reality, time and time after again, it's not. Yeah, beauty could definitely persuade people. Beauty could definitely make an individual like desiring you, and therefore they want to step aside and do something in your favor. So, without a doubt, beauty is an asset. That's something that we cannot, disagree on. But the problem is, people act like beauty itself is enough to save you from the cruelty of this world. And in reality, that's not the case. We've seen time after time again that we see beautiful women getting, best way I could put it nicely, murdered without cold blooded, without a second thought, all because they think that beauty itself is gonna save them. In reality, it's not. Most women, especially the smart ones, they'll take, best way I can put it, calculated risks, but at the same time, use their brain to avoid very deadly confrontation. And why I'm talking about this, why I'm saying all this is because recently what I've been noticing about women is they're getting a little overconfident with their beauty just by the fact that they're female. And here's a picture right here. Two females pursuing the same guy, and or should I say, the guy is sleeping with these two women. And then I like this comment right here saying that that's a huge issue. And in my opinion, that is because women are being overconfident with their beauty, and that's gonna make them do dumb decision that they're later gonna regret. But here's the baffling part: for some reason, women they don't want to accept accountability. And the fact that they don't want to accept accountability, to me, that's outright scary because the whole point of accountability is to prevent devastating consequences that's later going to come. You could escape accountability, but you will not escape consequences. And people, for those of you who are watching, I'm a huge believer in karma. I'm a huge believer in karma. So, it's like a cause and effect. Um, Reality, this world that we live in, it's not going to care what you are. What you do, it matters more because it has a cause and effect. Eventually, consequences will come after you. And that's why a lot of people believe in karma. If you do good things will return in your favor. If you do bad things, bad stuff is gonna come right at you. And a lot of people, even celebrities, like one of the famous music that got popular ever since our current president was attempted assassinated, um, 50 Cent. That music, it literally talks about karma. So anyway, just to go back to the subject, the reason why I was talking about karma is because women, they don't realize that if they don't accept certain accountabilities and make their mentality like grounded, in other words, down to earth, if they don't do that, they will suffer the consequences, and the consequences are deadly. Now, be mindful. I feel like I have to repeat myself whenever I talk about women in general. I'm not a misogynist. More than anything else, I definitely a woman supporter. I support women in corporate world, in jobs, politics, etc., etc. I really do. Like I really do support women. The problem is, and here's the funny thing. The funny thing is, I remember watching a documentary video about a man who's supporting quote unquote men rights, but that guy, he used to be a feminist and he outright support women. But the reason why he went from being a feminist to supporting man's right, being a man's right activist, is because he realized what feminism has become. Feminism is basically becoming, how do I say this? They're definitely empowering women, but they're also making women to see men as the enemy and lowering the confidence of man and status to the point where, you know, men are not no longer being respected in our society. And for some reason people accepted that years and years all the way to the present days. And now we're living the consequences of this timeline. Keep in mind, the whole feminism thing started around actually way earlier than 1960s. I think we could say 1940s, but we could argue that it's way earlier than that. And around the 1970s, that's when society started to make men and women hate each other. And in my honest opinion, guys, men and women should never hate each other. We're supposed to be a partnership because that's how families are formed. We're supposed to be a partnership, but for some reason, society encourage women to be against men, and in my opinion, that's wrong, outright wrong. We are humans. We men and women needs each other, but for some reason, society encourage women to never need a man. And man, we still have that mentality like, yeah, we definitely need a woman, but for some reason, society encouraged this whole man versus woman narrative. If you guys travel to other countries, they never see that mentality. They see man and woman are supposed to be together, are supposed to be bonding together. But what's scary to me is that in Western society, this is outright delusional. That's why in my previous video, I was mentioning one of my favorite YouTuber, Goldberg, and maybe I'll look for the link of his video and I'll definitely post it here in this video in a bit. But he said something that made me laugh. He says that white woman, a white Western woman, there's something wrong with their wiring, and because they cannot accept the the reality of the situation, like in their heads, they want a man that's nearly impossible to obtain for some reason. Because of that mentality, they literally forfeit their bloodline. In other words, they'll never have kids. And yeah, they could definitely date and, sleep around with a guy here and there, but they will never stay in the relationship. To me, that's bonkers, the fact that they cannot stay in the relationship. And that's why Martin Goldberg, I think his name is Martin Goldberg, but he goes by Goldberg, just Goldberg. When he said that in that YouTube video, it made me laugh. And more importantly, he pointed out how foreigners, women, they will definitely reproduce and help breed the white Western woman. And it made me laugh because I feel like that's true. I really do feel like that's true. Because in other countries, it was never about man versus woman, it's about man and woman working together. So, going back, because I feel like I'm ranting enough, going back to the original subject, really do feel like Western women, they're being delusional, very delusional with their beauty. So much so that it's killing them. Now, I'm gonna show this picture right here. It's this news article went viral all over the world because it was baffling for people to hear about this tragic news story of a beautiful woman who was I think a Instagram or TikTok beauty influencer. I could be wrong, but I'll leave a news article down in the description below, or even better, a YouTube video talking about you know about this subject. This beautiful woman from Mexico, she got killed because she was basically dating the best way I could put it nicely. She was dating a guy that she should not be dating, and it was very obvious since it's Mexico and they have this whole drug war going on. So she was definitely dating a drug lord, I believe, or if not a drug hitman. And this woman, she, a lot of people will agree that she should not have been dating this person, but she did anyway. Now, my opinion, here's my opinion why she did it. She did it because the guy was quote unquote exciting, but more importantly, because she was overconfident with her beauty, she thought that breaking up with him and being around and associated with this guy, she was completely safe from that environment. In reality, she was not. And in the end, she tragically lost her life. And she was a young woman. I think she was like 22 years old. I could be wrong, but I'll post the video down in the description below. And it's very tragic. And this news was so shocking that it went viral all over the internet. And there was a lot of like protests in Mexico pointing out how femicide is becoming a thing where a lot of women are being killed, especially with the whole drug war going on. And in my opinion, guys, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, of how women are being overconfident with their beauty. Beauty will not save you. It's definitely a strong asset, but it will not save you. Now, here's an anime that I want to show. The reason why I want to show this poster of this anime is because this anime ran daughter Minnesota. Something what really struck about me. Um, this anime sort of stick to me because of how realistic, even though it was still a fantasy anime, of how realistic the environment was interacting with the protagonist Rinsogi. Now Rinsogi, she's a woman in her I think mid 20s, and she gained immortality like thousands and thousands years ago. And because she's a woman in her 20s with beauty, and I think she's like, since she's super beautiful, she gets attention from both men and women, and should I dare say supernatural beings. And despite her beauty, in the anime, it literally shows blood and gore. So this anime is definitely not for, little kids or anything like that. It's definitely a mature anime. This anime shows blood and gore because it shows how the cruelty of the world disregard Renasogi. But what saves Renasogi in the end is her immortality. Because of her immortality, she gets to walk away from horrific scenes as if nothing ever happened to her. But why I'm bringing this anime up is because what I what this anime stuck with me is the realism of, despite of her beauty, despite she had beauty, her beauty in the end did not matter, and the cruelty of the world basically discarded her as if she was nothing. And in my opinion, that was like very realistic. This anime was, in my opinion, it was very realistic, especially how the world was interacting with Rin. Rin, the only thing that was like fantasy in Rin Donner Minso was her immortality, but everything else it felt like realistic in a sense. In my opinion, give it a watch, but keep in mind there's blood and gore in this anime, so yeah. But what I'm trying to point out is that her beauty did not save her in the end of the day. What saved her in the end of the day was sheer luck that she had immortality, especially in the right moment at the right time. Because in the anime, it talks about how immortality it could be a blessing or a curse, depending on the moment when you get it. Because some people, if they get immortality when they're sick, they stay sick forever. But Rin Usogi, she got immortality at the perfect age and the perfect health when she was essentially healthy, young, and beautiful, all that. So her immortality is what saves her. In other words, the supernatural. But in the anime, it shows time and time and again that her beauty did not save her. Like, she literally, in her first death scene shows that she was literally getting mugged by a group of bandits that trying to rob her, but she got randomly killed as if she was nothing, and it didn't matter that she was a beautiful woman. So, going back to this regular picture of, this woman protesting violence against women, I really do feel like, guys, that it's gonna get worse out there, and women, they're gonna be delusional about their beauty, thinking that their beauty is gonna save them. In reality, it's not. It's not gonna save them. What's gonna save them is have a little common sense and, best way I could say, navigate their environment of what's happening. Because um, if they put themselves in a horrible situation, then just like the woman from Mexico, their life is gonna get cut short. And once again, guys, I'm not a misogynist. I'm not a woman hater. I'm just a dude who see reality for what it is. As a matter of fact, that's the whole point of my YouTube channel, is to speak what I witness, to speak my experience of what I witness. And hopefully you guys could absorb that knowledge information and you guys make your own decision. So yeah, the reason why I'm making this video is because the original video, it got I decided to take it down because I showed two clips of women getting their butt kicked, all because they were overconfident, thinking that nothing is going to happen to them, all because they think just because they're a woman, nothing in this world, cruelty is going to happen to them. But boy, oh boy, they were wrong. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna end it here, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry for the long rant. I'm trying my best to speak clearly and minimize the time of this video. But thank you very much if you watch it all the way to the end. Message in the bottle, over and out.